Yes, as you can see, we're changing gears now to security. There's been a lot of talk around security, community policing, even now, conversation on state policing. And only recently, the Inspector General of Police, as you saw in that report, was in the Southeast over talks to create another outfit, very much like what is in the Southwest, the Amotekun outfits in the Southwest. We do not know how that conversation went down, but we have with us here this morning His Excellency Dave Umahi, who's Governor of Ebonyi State and also the Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. Your Excellency, you're welcome to Channels Television and welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much, my sister. Good morning.
Well, can you first of all tell us how that conversation went down with the Inspector General? Was it what you were expecting? Was it what you were proposing that eventually you were able to agree on?
Well, let me first of all say that because of the heightened insecurity in every part of the country, people are agitating for different forms of, security protection. And the summation of all this agitation is that people want state police. And the governors, took oath of office to uphold the tenets of the Constitution. So it becomes very difficult, to have the governors do the wish of the people. That is, established, in terms of giving them exactly what they're asking for in different forms. But we had discussion with the IGP, and let me commend him very highly. He's a very professional officer, and he's very committed to this job. We were with him, and again, I apologize to our people, because some people have appeared on tele and said we kept our people waiting. It wasn't intentional, and we actually sent people to let them know that we were handling all the concerns raised by the delegation of Ohanese, a day when we were having our Southeast Governors Forum meeting. So, again, apologies to them. It was never intentional. But we had, discussion with IGP, and we took him through all the agitations, what our people expected, from the meeting. And we were able to reach a number of compromises. First, the IGP introduced what community policing is all about. And when we listened to him, it fitted into what we are doing in our various states in Southeast. But, because people tend to, lose a bit confidence in security, agents, not their fault, because there is heightened insecurity and the personnel are not enough. So when you just hear community policing, you just believe that it's another kind of, police, outfit, So we agreed on a number of things. In our different states, we have, from 2015, we have, ministries of security. And these ministries of security, we have, laws that back up our community security outfits. Like we have, Operation Pochapo. We have Neighborhood Watch, Operation Pochapo in Anambra State. We have Neighborhood Watch in Ebonyi and Enugu. We have, in Abia, we have in Imo State, we have gatekeepers, we have Herdsmen Committee, we have forest guards. These are all we are doing. They're all backed up with law. And so the IGP told us, look, community policing is community-based. The police is not going to select members of this, personnel, and they are going to be independent. They are not going to be dependent on the DPO, or the CP. They have to handle their affairs, perfectly. But one striking and very important aspect of community policing is that they will have the ability to arrest, but they will not detain. But they can arraign in court.
It's interesting that you say that what he was proposing and what you already have on ground seem very similar. Because just on Friday, I had a conversation with former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, who says that the community policing as been proposed by the Inspector General is a distraction. He says it's more like police PR, that they're talking about building public relations. So that's not what the people seem to be talking about. They're not saying they're going to bring extra personnel. In fact, he called it a fraud. What do you make of what he says?
Well, Senator Ike Ekweremadu is one of leaders. I wouldn't want to comment against what he said, but I want to speak, in line with what we heard from the IGP. If what we heard is what it is, I can assure you that community policing is an enhancement, of what we are already doing, because what we are doing is backed by law. And community policing is going to be domesticated in each of the states, and it's also going to be backed by law. So I don't see it, because where there are no other alternative, you have to find a way to protect, the lives and property of your people. So what we are doing is giving comfort to our people, in terms of, making sure that we have, peace in the various communities. And if you now come up with community policing, and it's an added advantage because it's backed up by the Constitution. And so what we are doing at the local levels, we now be able to be enhanced, and then they can arrest, they can arraign, they can also not going to go to DPO.
I find it interesting that you say that when you had the conversation with the IG, you were able to reach some compromise.
Yeah.
In other words, there were points of departure, isn't that correct? What were the points of departure? What were the things that, you had to eventually give room, or will I say give and take, to be able to achieve the compromise? What were you looking for initially that eventually you had to come to a middle ground, it would seem?
Well, the idea of, our people would want, an enhanced security outfit to protect the people because of very heightened, insecurity in our place.
In other words?
In other words, the IGP, was able to convince us that, if there is no state police, which there won't be unless the Constitution is changed, that this community policing will enhance our community security outfit.
In other words, what the people of the Southeast want is state police.
They want state police. They want state police. But you see, when people talk about regional, security, there's nothing like regional security. Because regional security is above state police. And there won't be regional security. Even what Motekun is saying is state-based. It's not a regional, police. But our people, some of them believe that we just have one central, security outfit, and then, there is one central command. The Constitution does not allow that. But what we are doing in South is, of course, we started, in July 2018, and we formed our, Southeast Security Committee. And what we agreed is to have in Enugu, which is our central home, the committee that will be saddled with intelligence gathering. We have communication gadgets there. We have our servicemen there. And so these people get information. These people coordinate the activities of the local, vigilante and all the various, security outfits to ensure that, they conform to the law. Two, that are trained, and this is what you do. We started that in July 2018. And when Ohaneze kicked, we had another meeting about a week ago. And we all came together with the stakeholders of Southeast and said, hence, we can improve on that security committee. Who
were those flying the kite of Ogbunigwe? Because we heard about that shortly after the Southwest governors came up with Amotekun.
Our personal opinion, and everybody is entitled to his opinion. They're thinking, everybody is thinking, how can our lives be protected? Because you don't know who is the next victim. So there are people that, are feeling that, but not everybody, can be everybody.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, was it a thought that came up from the Southeast governors, the regional security outfit?
There's nothing, I mean, there will be nothing like regional, outfit, not in any part of the country.
But there is one now in the Southwest.
I don't look at it as regional security. It is a corporation. And we have, similar one that is in the making.
It doesn't cover the Southwest, the Southeast, does it? It only covers the Southwest, isn't that correct?
No.
Why are we shying away? It would seem that somehow, we are creating things, but we're shying away from the use of certain terms. Isn't that correct?
No. You see, let me tell you something. I've read through the Amotekun law.
Yes.
And one interesting aspect of it is where they say we apply to the IGP for firearms. And I had the PRO of police say, look, if you apply for, firearm, it has to conform with the law. And there are two kinds of, firearm licenses. One is by the Mr. President, the other one is by the IGP. And so when you look through the law, there is no common law, for Amotekun. What you have is similar law.
Yes. You say it is regional corporation. Yes. I say it's a regional outfit. What's the difference? The
difference is that when you have a regional outfit, you have all the personnel, under one central command. You have the posting under one central command. You have one common post. The people are paid, from a common post. You have a central command. You have orders dishing from the center. But that is not what they have. What they have, is an enhancement, of what, and what is the enhancement? Is that regional cooperation. That if there is a problem in Ekiti State, then people from Osun State, under their law, can come to cooperate to help, and it shows that one people. And that's what we also, having in Southeast. We have not jettisoned the idea of joint security committee. We're still going to have it. It's in the making. Our attorney generals are working on our papers based on our peculiarities. And when we finish, what we are going to have, that we bind all of us together, is a unit that is going to be, centered in Enugu State, and then what happens? This committee, we coordinate the activities of the various security outfits we have in our various states, whether it be community police. But let me make it very clear that we know what the IGP told us about the community policing, and if the template comes out and it departs from that agreement we reached, both the governors of Southeast and the Southeast people will not embrace community policing.
I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts there for us. When we come back, we'll be taking questions from my colleagues in Lagos. Please stay with us. His Excellency Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State is still with us in our studios. We now go over to Lagos now for questions from the crew in Lagos. Chamberlain?
Yes, thank you, Mark. Your Excellency, you did state that community policing fits into what some of the state governors are doing in the Southeast, but you also, in the same breath, said that the people were losing confidence. So doesn't that suggest that that strategy is not achieving the right kind of results?
Chamberlain, thank you very much. Saying that community policing, fits into local security arrangement in each of our states, and saying people are losing confidence, they are not together, because they don't lose confidence in what they have not experienced. But to say they have lost confidence, in security in our zone may be the right thing to say. And we are trying to do what we can do to restore that confidence. And why is it that what we are doing is not enough for them? You can't confront, terrorists, without arms. And that's why they feel that, our various security outfits, that do not bear arms will not adequately help the people. So they're looking at what security arrangement that is, people-based, community-based, that can assist the people. And you may ask me again, will community, policing bear arms? The question is, it's only the IGP that we have to answer that question, because he has the powers to issue, certain kinds of license to, this kind of arrangement to build up confidence in the people. That's what I think.
But I also understand that even with the security outfit that is being set up in different parts of the country, some of them have a right to apply for arms, and they can get certain categories of arms. Isn't that the case?
That's exactly what we are working on. We're doing everything without breaking the law to enhance the confidence, our people in what we are doing in terms of, our local arrangement, for, I won't call it self-help, but it can also call it self-help, when people are very helpless. So, and the issue of community policing, for me, if you remove the word, policing, it has been there from the one, in the sense that even at the local villages, people come together and barricade the road at a certain time of the night, to ensure that, people that come, later in the night, are searched, and to be ensured that they're clean people. And so what we are saying about community policy is that we had listened to our IGP, and he told us a number of, issues concerning community policing, and it does not in any way affect what we are doing already, at our local levels and in each of our states. But what we are now saying is that we need the template, and we want the template to be exactly what the IGP told us, because we have confidence in him. He's a good officer. And so if that happens, and then we now, embellish it in our various security outfits, then our people will begin to have confidence, because we're also going to be applying for firearms, certain category of it, so as to equip, our security outfit, be it community policing or our local policing, so that people's confidence be restored.
See, different states, they have at least one or two forms of policing. If it's not the traffic management, it's the neighborhood watch, different groups. And some of them, yes, they have the rights, they can bear arms, as you say, within the confines of the law. So the question then is, if they can apply for arms within the confines of the law, what is wrong in the nation having a conversation about state police?
My people Southeast, they support, wholeheartedly, state police. Of course, they also support restructuring. And this state police is also part of the restructuring. But, Chemali, let me divert a little to say that, there are two kinds of insecurity in the country. There is the terrorist, aspect of insecurity in the country. And there is also the internal insecurity occasioned by the kind of election we conduct in Nigeria. Until we can sit in our various, homes or offices and be able to count our votes, and our votes we count, this level of insecurity will continue to increase in Nigeria, because, the politicians are desperate people, and so they go all their ways to, get arms to, defenseless youths, arm them, and at the end of the day, the youth's expectations are not met, they are left, and so they now turn around and use the guns to help themselves. And it's a very serious, level of insecurity. And there is nothing you do, say you are mopping up, small arms and so on and so forth, that will work. Let us have proper, method of election that is peculiar to our places. It's so disheartening to see in election, people are killed, people are killed. And what drives, poverty, because it's another source of insecurity, is because when the people that are elected are people-based, it is not court-based, it's not gun-based, it's not violence-based, then the leaders will be afraid of the people. The power will then belong to the people. And so the leaders will now be able to sit down and say, look, the next election is coming. I have to work hard so as to, garner the courage, the favor of my people to be re-elected. But if you can manipulate, either in a technical way or through the barrels of the gun, and you find your way up there, you believe that the way you did that, you can sustain that. And so it breeds poverty. And so poverty is a result of the kind of election we conduct, where anybody can, just be elected. through any mechanism. It could be technicality and so on and so forth. So it is a very serious issue that we have to look at, in the country. And so the issue of community policing, let me assure you, and of course assure our people, that the ability of the governors to protect, her people is what we, swore to do, and we are just doing that. Of late, we have met with the Ohanese and the others of, Southeast, and we enlarged our, Southeast Security Committee, and what they are doing with the Attorney General is to sit down and look at the various laws that back up our various, efforts in safeguarding the lives of our people. And so we are looking at it, and of course, I'm going to be demanding from the IGP the template for the community policing. So we match it alongside with what you're doing, and then come up with not common law, but similar law. Common law is a law that is operated by, maybe at the center. But similar law is that what happens in Ebonyi State is going to happen in Enugu State. And the effect is that there will be cooperation, between the Southeast states. And that there will be also, at the center, people that we be able to, get information from the various states. For example, if somebody is kidnapped in Ebonyi State, immediately the thing is escalated through our, center at Enugu. And then people in Anambra and so on and so forth in the states, we now block the route, then activate their communication gadget, and they will be able to do this.
Well, Your Excellency, so all governors know these challenges. I mean, you also have highlighted the major impediment or challenge to getting state police, as it were. So is this a subject that has been discussed at Governors Forum? Because, I mean, there are those who think that politicians may not, maybe governors may not want to have it because some of them benefit politically from those, and so they may not push for that. Is that the case?
I don't think there is, I've not seen any governor that comes to speak about, community, state police. But you know that, every solution creates, its own problems. So you cannot totally say that state police is going to be the answer to all our insecurity. It has its own problems. But I think that is what our people need. The Southeast governors, they don't speak, different from what their leaders are looking for, provided, what they are demanding or what they are looking for is not against the Constitution we all swore to uphold. Yes, there may be a lot of issues with the Constitution, but we don't have another one. And so whether we like it or not, we have to swallow it and try to manage it, and also assure our people, that we will get there. And I think that the country has an opportunity with the review of the Constitution right now. They should be able to push for that state police. And I think that will give confidence to the people, because insecurity in various communities, are peculiar to those communities. And my heart feels so bad when people are killed, when houses are burned, and so on and so forth. We as a nation can't continue to go like this. We can't fold our hands and continue to see the lives of our people, being wasted. Today, it is this person. Tomorrow, you don't know who it will be. This is very important. State police, should be advocated for. And what our leaders should know and should be aware is that you don't make a law to suit you. Because, our positions are ephemeral. It is not more than 8 years. So you make a law that we protect and secure the future and the lives of the generation yet unborn. But sometimes we try to make a law thinking that we'll be there forever. That is very unfortunate. So I think the state police is very important. And we can sit down as a nation and look at the pros and cons, and then be able to, if that can guarantee the safety of lives and property in this country. Very important.
You mentioned earlier that you held a meeting with Ohanese, and I'm just curious, what was the outcome of that meeting? Because I recall that security summit, which the IGP attended a few weeks back, that the Ohanese staged a walkout, and that was eventually resolved. But it appears as though the Ohanese might not be on the same page with the state governors. But I'd like you to clarify that. What is the state of the agreement right now with Ohanese?
Yes, you see, everything about security is not discussed on the pages of newspaper. And the Southeast could easily be misconstrued, and that's why we've been very careful so that we are not misunderstood. But we are doing quite a lot. And there are people, including Ohaneze, they didn't quite understand the governors. But I tell you that, you know, relatively in the whole country, Southeast is still better secured than any other region. And I give, you know, kudos to our governors who work day and night to ensure that this happens. Yes, if I enter this room with my hands closed, you'll be wondering what is in that hand. And there's nothing I will be discussing with you that will make any meaning until my hands are open so that I see what it is. But that is what security is all about. We don't have to totally tell everybody, the world, what we are doing. But of recent, about a week ago, we had a smaller section of Ohaneze led by the president of Ohaneze, very revered in Nyamudo. And then we had other, you know, stakeholders of Southeast. They came and we sat down and we discussed and say, hey, what is this committee policy that you know, approved without knowing, telling us? We say, well, where are your political leaders? You know, there are certain things we must accept and we come to you and explain to you. And so we had to explain to them, you know, line by line. And the most fascinating aspect of that committee policy is the ability of the outfit to arrest without any reference to police and arraign without reference to police, and is backed by law. And that this committee policy will be, you know, integrated into what we're doing, and then backed by, you know, a similar law. And that's what our joint security, you know, committee is doing now. So we have members from the Ohaneze, we have members from the stakeholders, we have other cultural organizations of you know, Southeast. So they're all together with the governor's Southeast committee, and are coming to fashion out areas of cooperation and then come up with similar law that will be operative in each of the 5 states of Southeast. And this will give our people comfort, and I think Ohaneze is happy with that. So that participating, we are on one page, and this is very important. But it's also very unfortunate that some of our people darken council without knowledge. They come to the television and talk all kind of things. I listened to one time, you know, is a PDP chairman in Anambra State, you know, insulting governors on television. So it's very unfortunate for somebody who managed a party and could not manage the party to come and then be insulting governors on pages of newspaper without knowing what governors are doing. So I take it that he darkens council without knowledge, and it's very unfortunate. And it's only in Southeast to get that kind of trash. So, but we forgive him because he knows not what he's doing or what he's saying. So we are on the same page with our leaders and with the same page with Ohaneze people. And very soon our people will be happy. But one thing is very certain. It is very difficult without tampering with the Constitution for our people to totally get what they are looking for in terms of, you know, their fear for insecurity in Southeast. But I believe strongly that when we entice, you know, our security outfits with community policing, and IG gives approval for the outfit to be a certain category of arms, it will enhance the confidence in the system.
Your Excellency, one of the things, a number of security experts who have spoken to us about the challenge of insecurity have adduced poverty and unemployment as major causes of insecurity in various parts of the nation. If this is true in the Southeast as well, what's the Southeast Governors Forum doing to tackle insecurity from that angle?
Well, we are doing quite a lot, you know, to enhance, you know, the fortunes of our people. But, you know, our people are, you know, majorly commercial people, and certain, you know, policies and decisions of the federal government, you know, that, you know, do hamper, you know, the ease of doing business in Southeast. Like, you know, a lot of our roads, you know, are so bad. So it's difficult to move from one state to the other. And so there is a very high level of you know, demobilization in this regard. But I must thank Mr. President, in all honesty, for, you know, the projects he's doing in Southeast. Is quite commendable. And I don't seek the permission of anybody to speak the truth. But do we really need more? Yes. the roads between states are totally cut off. And I propose, a solution that can enhance, our road maintenance. And I was thinking that we should sit down and discuss what do we do, to maintain our roads. What we should do is that we can slide this road, from 1 kilometer to 50 kilometers, concession it. And when you concession this road, let it be the responsibility of the person handling it to create service center, to create, armed men that will patrol the road. It is not difficult to have solar-based, light to within this, range. Then to the next section of the road, there will be integration of walkie-talkie communication. And then within this section, you will have, petrol station, you have accommodation, you have, places people can tow this thing. So you see, I tell you something. You can tow such length of the road, even if you tow it 3 or 4 times. And so the road will be cleared about 100 meters from the verge of the drain, either way, so that you will be able to see who is next to you. This is very important. So road is basic, in fighting poverty. But I've told you that what breeds poverty is when people, the way and manner people come to leadership.
Just quickly, Your Excellency, sorry to interrupt your train of thoughts. Why do we have to wait for the template being given by the Inspector General? You have said you're waiting for that template, is that correct?
Yes.
Why do we have to wait for the template? Why aren't the Southeast
before what happens?
Coming up with their own template and saying if it's acceptable by the federal government?
We have our laws since 2015, backing our various security outfits, and nobody has come to tell us, hey, you have broken the law. So we are already doing that. But IGP came with a new idea and said, look, you can integrate community police into what you're doing. And I know very well that what you are doing without bearing arm, is also giving some comfort to our people, but not total comfort. So our people are looking for what we give them total comfort, assurances that their lives and property are secured. And so that's why the Southeast people, we every day support, state police as the only alternative that we assure them that their lives and property, are protected. So why do I mean that we're waiting for IG for the template? Yes, you've introduced a new aspect, to us and say we are buying it based on what you told us. But we need the template to be sure that what you told us is in line with what, you have.
In other words, you haven't sent the template yet?
We've not, but he explained to us, and we believe him.
Okay.
So we're going to be asking for the template.
We believe that this is a conversation that will be ongoing, especially since you're still expecting that template. We have to thank you this morning for coming on Sunrise Daily and sharing your thoughts with us and also explaining to us, just what is going on with security arrangements in the Southeast. Your Excellency, Dave Umahi is the governor of Ebonyi State and is also the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. Thank you for coming on Sunrise.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at some messages coming through from you. This one is from Badun Joshua. I was going to say Anthony Joshua. Well, it says community policing is the best option to curb crime. But the fact remains, if the right thing is done by those in power, cutting down cost of governance, politicians bumper packages, and make governance as a means to serve humanity and not otherwise, until then, I'm not sure he has hope.
Well, at Zimo's blog, talks about security votes versus security. Quite interesting what he has to say. He says, please, what is the role or the sole purpose of the consistent security votes the governors get from the federal government? For the very first time, these governors want to spend these security votes on a genuine cause. And as such, they should be allowed and supported. That's Zimo for you.
Kuchili Wudiri says on drug abuse, I'm glad the country is taking the drug problem seriously. He, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, has talked about supply and demand reduction. It is also important we consider harm reduction as a solution. He has not said anything about the non-availability of rehab centers for drug users. #drugs.
Well, he eventually did say something about rehab centers and the fact that there were, in some states, there wasn't even one rehab center. But let's look at this one from Deolu Oyebode, who's talking about drug abuse as well. He says, every effort is commended. We have enough laws in this country, but the enforcement is of concern. Drug abuse has nothing to do with education. The Federal Ministry of Health wants that tobacco smokers will die young. Can drug peddling be made a capital offense? Well, this is a question.
Yeah, including all those talking about monkey tail as well. Well, look at this from Henry, and when we're speaking about drug abuse, he says, enacting new laws or setting up of new agency may not solve the problem of poor interagency cooperation and information sharing. Strong governance, leadership, and oversight by individuals who have been placed in charge are the missing tools. So there you go. We do appreciate all your messages. Please do keep them coming. Thank you for watching. What a week. Ayo, this Saturday, what we're going to do for this week. So we'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain. What's up?
I'm Kayode Okikele.
You don't start a week, such a blast, and not sustain it. Stay with us until tomorrow. I'm Ayo Makinde.
Well, more power to the elbows of the producers. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf. See you tomorrow, God willing.